Hello there, this is Music Man 0150, also known as Gary, and yes, I am back again with another video, and guess what we're going to take a look at? Yes, we are going to look at the last television that I've acquired in the collection that you've seen, and this is the, I think this is number 11, TV set number 11, out of all of them that you've seen that so far that I've had. And you could see how this one is different compared to all the other ones that you've seen. And for one, it's a Sears, a solid state black and white set. And you notice how the front just has the tuning knobs, has the VHF on the top and the UHF on the bottom, and that's all there is on the front. And over here on the side is where the rest of the knobs are, your on-off volume, contrast, and bright. And it also has an earphone jack, so that's another unique feature. And I'm trying to think what other TV has the earphone jack that I have. I know the KMC one has an earphone jack, and that big Technica TV has an earphone jack which was put in. But I'm trying to think which other set had an earphone jack pre-installed. I don't know if it was the Emerson or the GE TV. I think it had to be the Emerson, because the GE TV I know didn't have, I don't think it had an extra jack on it, you know, from taking it apart and looking at it. So I think it was the Emerson set. But anyway, this is the Sears set, and you can see how vintage this one looks. This one I think happens to be more of the 70s. The way you can see the tuning knobs. Just giving you another overview of the knobs themselves, and has a nice antenna on it, which I don't even use because naturally, you know, there's no over-the-air broadcast on VHF anymore. And to kind of give you an overview of the back, this is the back of it, and you can see there that it has the terminals for VHF, UHF, and yeah, that's attached. It looked like it wasn't, but it is. So that's attached. I guess that's the way the wire is. One wire comes out of the back, and the other one comes out of the terminal. And I guess the one out of the terminal is for the antenna, the built-in antenna, or maybe they both are. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's the terminal, and then you could see here, this is definitely an older model, because it has the cord that normally sets from the 70s and earlier would have the interlock feature, you know, where the cord would detach and it would have the interlock. So definitely this is a vintage set. And then you have your vertical hold control here. Get a little closer so you can see. Yeah, vertical hold. Looks like vertical linearity or vertical height. I can't really see it too well. And then vertical lin or vertical hold. No, not vertical hold, but vertical height or horizontal hold. Let me just look with the naked eye a minute and see if I could see what it says here. Yeah, vertical lin is the second one, and height. Yeah, so it's vertical hold, linearity, and height. So the horizontal hold is only accessible from taking the back off. So this is another one that doesn't require horizontal adjustment once it's adjusted. And then this is the tag, with the serial number and the model number. But I'm curious to see what the date code is, if they have a date code on this. And let's see, let me look again with the naked eye a second. It doesn't say. It does not say. So maybe somebody out there can determine what year this TV is. I'd be curious to know. And I'm not sure about keeping this one, only because it's a very, very, very old one. Yes, it's a vintage set, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to hang on to this one, because for one, if you try to put it in like an enclosure, like for a cabinet, you'd never be able to get to these knobs to turn it on and off, and volume adjustment especially. All you'd be able to do is the channels. But it's still a nice set. In fact, let's do a little demonstration of it. So we'll go ahead and turn it on. And I got the sound down right now, so that way you can hear me talk. And it's turned on. Ah, there we go. It's on a blank channel. That's why we're not getting anything. Okay. So let's go ahead and activate a channel. Or I think we have a channel activated. Let's see. Because I do have the senders turned on. Yeah, well that one there is from the other room. That's channel 25. And that's 16. It's on the air, but there's nothing going through it. So let's do something real quick here. We're going to turn on this TV sender, which is 14, and then power up the VCR. And there. Now you can see that there's a nice picture on there. I'm just trying to fine tune it a little bit here. And yes, this tuner does work well. Sometimes it's hard to adjust, but it turns very easily, so that's a nice thing. And here's the VHF. And the VHF on this one, the tuning wise, that's dependent. So in other words, if you tune one channel in, you might have to tune it for all of them, because it's one of those tuners that turns regardless of where the VHF dial is positioned. But you can see how clear the picture is. Let me stand back a little bit and try to get the camera so you can see the picture without those black lines or the dark shaded areas. Yes, very, very clear. And here's the sound.
Probably about 2 years ago, a similar presentation at Bristol Broadview Heights. It was a coalition from Toledo that came out and presented the program.
Just trying to fine-tune it a little bit, because when you first turn on the sender, it tends to drift a little bit. There's a little bit of video noise, but it's not too bad. So that gives you an idea of the sound, and then I'll show you the brightness and contrast range. That's the contrast range. It goes from almost invisible to visible. And I'll be right back, because I have to answer the phone. Okay, I'm back now. It was one of those automated calls again, and I don't know why they keep calling here. So anyway, getting back to the television set, here's another overview of the contrast. As I said, it goes from almost completely invisible, where you can't see the video at all, to a very, very high contrast image, where the blacks are black and the whites are white and the grays are gray. And then this is the brightness range, and that's actually all the way up. But when you turn it down, the brightness, I thought there for a minute you could see the bright white still kind of bleeding through, but you can't. So brightness range is very, very good on this as well. So if you have the contrast like this, then it almost looks like that the picture is really dark. And so that's why I always like to have the contrast all the way up and the brightness all the way up. But as I said, this is a very good set. And no service had to be done with this one, even when I first got it. Everything seemed to be working well with it. The only thing, well, I take that back. The only thing I had to do to it was spray the volume control so that it wasn't scratchy. But as far as, taking the back off and getting inside the tuner and all of that, didn't have to do that at all. So this is now the final TV that you haven't seen in the massive collection that I have. And like I say, I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep all of these. I mean, they all work well. They really do. It's just, the amount of space that I have to store them. So, I just want to give you a little comparison between that one and this RCA that I have up here. And I think the picture quality on both, I'd say, are very, very good. In fact, you know what, I'm noticing this one, I may have to get in the back and check the contrast on this one, because it's not as bright as it should be. Let's see, I'm turning the contrast now. That's minimum, and this is maximum. There. Let's see if that's any better. Well, you know what? The brightness range on this one is more. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, I don't think it's so much the brightness. I think it's more of the contrast flexibility. Because this set I've had for a long, long time. I've had it for probably about well, let's see. It's 2013 now, and I actually won this TV in a sweepstakes, free TV through a sweepstakes, and that was, I think, it was in 1988, 88 or 89. Let's say 89. Yeah, I think it was more like 89. So you figure this set is 24 years old almost, because it was actually it was the spring. I think it was the spring of 1989. Yeah, that's when it was. Spring of 1989. So, this is 24 years old. Yeah, 24. That's right. Yeah, 24 years old. So, that's pretty old for a set, but it really, it still works well, as far as the picture and sound quality goes. Here's another recap.
What you tell parents about these items.
Right. For example, we've got a lady's scarf, a lady's belt.
See, that's a recap of the sound. So, I mean, that one's really been a good set. But again, comparing that one to this Sears, you can see how the contrast is much more vivid on this Sears. And actually, these older sets were built like tanks. They were really built like tanks. You can't beat them. And that's why I'm so happy for those of you that are into vintage television sets and you're restoring them. I'm so happy about that. Because, it's always good to have some technology from the past to remember how all of this was made, It's amazing how technology has changed over the years. Just in 50 years, it's changed dramatically. Well, for computers, the last 20 years, it's changed dramatically. The last 20, 25, 30 years, almost, it's changed dramatically. I mean, you went from an old IBM PC that used disk operating system or DOS as your operating system, and now they're already up to Windows 8. as your operating system for PCs. And just to kind of verify, I mean, you could see right here, you know, the advancement of the computers. One of these times I'm going to have to show you one of the very, very old computers before I have to eventually get rid of it. So I actually have two IBM monitors. One is a color and one is an actual monochrome monitor. And then the other monochrome monitor that I have, which is right there and there on the floor, that's a Samsung, and that's a freestanding monitor where you can hook it to any kind of monochrome PC. But that IBM monitor, if you recall, the IBM monochrome monitors, you had to plug those directly into the PC power supply and they would come on with the PC. And I think you'll be amazed to see that once I can dig it out. Right now I don't want to attempt digging it out because I'd have to move all of these computers to get to those. So we will do that once I'm able to get to those machines and won't have to worry too much about putting all this back. So hopefully that won't happen, not for too long. I mean, hopefully we can do it soon. So anyway, there's an update of the Sears television set, the 11th one that you haven't seen. And like I say, the way I was showing this, the TVs, was unique, and this one just happened to be the very last one. And yeah, it is probably the oldest one that I have now, out of the years that they were made. Oh, and I got to update you on something. Excuse me, we're going to go here in the storage room. I do want to update you on something. Remember I was showing you the RCA sets and how they were all identical? Well, I got news for you. All 5 of them are not quite identical. And here's the reason why. I discovered that if you look here on the back of this one, see how the holes are vertical? Those holes are vertical on the back. And the 2 brown ones have the same type of backs as well. They have the vertical holes. But on the other white TV and the yellow TV, which I failed to show the backs of, or maybe I did show the backs, I can't remember. But anyway, those 2 have the holes horizontally on the back. So those are not quite they're not quite the same as these. So I'm thinking these are the newer ones and the other 2 are the older ones, because those 2 do remind me of the silver one I used to have, whereas these are probably a little bit newer. And also the other 2 remind me of the Rescue RCA TV that you've seen in previous videos. And those of you that are viewing this video first and wondering about the Rescue RCA TV, well, it was an RCA set that I acquired, and then last March, not March of 2013, but March of 2012, I had to end up putting it out on the curb, and somebody did pick it up. I don't know who picked it up, but somebody got it, and because it was gone like within a half hour. Once I put it out front and I put a tag on it, free working TV, and it disappeared real fast. So who knows where it ended up? It could have ended up in recycle by now, or maybe whoever got it is watching it. Who knows? Who knows? Don't know where it ended up, but I'm hoping one of these days I can find another one like that, only in a little bit better shape, because that one I really had no choice to get rid of because the picture was getting dark on it, and it was giving off a little bit of a smell too, and that was kind of dangerous, in case it overheated. We didn't want any problems. So anyway, well, that's going to do it for this, as far as showing the TVs and that, because now I have to clean all this up again. I had to dig that TV out of the storage here, and it was buried on the bottom shelf. If you want to see exactly where I had to dig it out, it was actually where the yellow one is right now. And I think what I'm going to do is put that Sears one where there in the middle, or else I'm going to move the yellow one back to where it was and put the Sears one back on the left-hand side there. But you can't really see because it's dark here. It's really dark. But these two sets do have the horizontal backs, as far as the holes go. So, and yes, this is another set. I have to correct myself. This is another set that you haven't seen. But this is one that I've had for a long, long time. And as I said this morning when I was showing you up at the church, for my Optelec camera, that's over at Doc's getting fixed. Well, I think I'm going to take, when I go to pick up the camera, I think I'm going to take this TV out there and see if they can fix it. Because it does work. The only problem with it is that the picture is squashed a little bit. And I really would like to get this one functioning because it's not just a television, it's also a video composite monitor for cameras and an RGB monitor for old computers. That's right. And I would like to get this one functioning because my idea for that is to make room here on the workbench where I can have another monitor to work on the real old vintage PCs with the CGA cards, or I might put that monitor over here for my Optelec, and then I can have a computer sitting here as well too. I'd have to see what kind of space I can accommodate for the setup, because I think that would really be neat. And then I would have a computer, a monitor, and be able to have a vintage setup, of of an old computer as well. So we'll have to just see about that. But actually, I might just leave this screen here because that's nice and big when I have to work on small circuits. So I might just put that monitor, that one, if I can get it fixed, I might put it over here on the workbench and clear all this out and put this in the storage. Put all this in the storage, and it won't look so cluttery. And then I could actually put another TV on top of that. Yeah, I know. I got a lot of monitors and TVs around, but they're basically used for different purposes. And plus, I like to have the vintage display, so that people can see, what technology was like in the earlier years. Kind of bring them back memories. So anyway, that's going to do it for now, because now I really do got to clean this up, and I also got to go eat too. So we'll be back with more videos real soon. I hope you enjoyed this one, and yes, I will be back with more. So this is MusicMan0150 signing off for now, and hope everybody has a great day or evening, depending where you're watching this from. And please tell your friends to check out my videos on YouTube.